Good,
It's still going.
good morning. I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. My name is Dr. Felice Cellini, and this is our Sunday morning Why Wait for Recovery community meeting.
Good,
Welcome.
good morning. My name is Haiti, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. And welcome to our Memorial Weekend Sunday meeting. I'm a compulsive overeater. I'm a binger. I'm a purger. I'm a drug addict in recovery.
And I'm an alcoholic, drug addict, anorexic in recovery. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our meeting.
And I wanted to welcome you to our meeting. You're either joining us online via Facebook or you are joining us in the room. You're brave enough to step into the room with us, and good morning. And this is a really special day because today we're here. And that is quite amazing because I never thought that there was a time I never thought I'd make it to today. So welcome.
You never make it to today to the meeting for sure.
No,
Well,
just
a couple
today
of
in
years
general.
ago.
Yeah,
A couple of years ago, I never thought that you would be at a meeting like this.
well, I never thought I'd live to see the day either. So honestly, being clean and being here is a blessing for me.
Yeah. Yes, for all of us it is.
Yeah.
For all of us it is. So
Hi.
welcome, everybody. Hi, Karen, you're upside down. Now you're right side up. So what are we talking about today?
So-
Tom, did you have something that you wanted to talk about today?
Well, when I shared today, I was going to share this little assignment that I had about coming from a place of lack as opposed to coming from a place of abundance. So I guess we can start right off with that.
I love that. I think
Okay.
let's jump straight in.
Okay, so
Great.
here's my place of lack example. I have to get up at 5 a.m. to get to the 7 a.m., my 7 a.m. meeting of AA. It's my home group because I always go there and I'm afraid to go anywhere different by myself. I have to go to a meeting because my sponsor said so. Now, that same scenario from a place of abundance is I get up bright and early and start my day at 5 a.m. It gives me time to ease into the day before my 7 a.m. meeting. I choose that meeting to be my home group because these are the people that I've gotten sober with. I have community with them. I enjoy the meetings because I know I'm taking an active step in my recovery and I always hear something of value.
And so what's the difference?
One is much more upbeat and makes me, I'm coming from gratitude as opposed to,
Perspective.
yeah. my
Right, so the
perspective is-
thing that's different is your perspective. So the same exact thing is happening. The only thing that's different is the events in your head that led up to the actual event, right? So instead of choosing to look at what was bad or negative about what you were gonna do, you chose to look at what was awesome and what can come of what you're gonna do.
Yes.
And that's the amazing thing about our life, you guys, is that we get to choose that. Doesn't always seem like that at the time, right?
Yes.
We wake up sometimes discontent and aggravated, and we get to choose as to whether we're going to stay discontent and aggravated or turn it around. You guys want to have you do your gratitude lists, which Laura, I'm going to give you a pat on the back because you've been doing your gratitude list every day. Good girl. When you take the couple of seconds to look at what you're grateful for, it changes absolutely everything about your life. Like such a little tiny thing that does such a huge, tremendous thing.
Yeah.
So it really does. So thanks for sharing that.
And I also think that when we step into that space, it's not that space of resentment, you know, especially with me being that food addict and that post-bariatric person. When I started, the first thing was I became very resentful that I couldn't do things the way that I was doing them before.
Yeah.
And then when I looked at it and it became a choice. No one held a gun to my head and said, you have to go for surgery. It was a decision that I made. It was something I chose to do. And then consequently, stepping into recovery was a choice that I made. So it becomes a way of looking at myself differently. You know, it becomes a way of looking at a way of nurturing myself as well. So when I make these decisions, I end up feeling happier and I become healthier, and all these great things kind of snowball afterwards by doing the next right thing.
And you know, when you went for your surgery, you went initially because you thought you didn't have a choice.
Right.
Because had you known that you had a choice to just step into recovery, because some people do it stepping into recovery. So had you realized that you had that choice, and how'd you realize in the beginning that it was the recovery that was going to keep you well, not the surgery, right? That the surgery is your jumping off point. And that's awesome because you did something for yourself, right? To help yourself get better faster. And that was awesome. But when you first had your surgery, you weren't looking at the recovery part yet.
No,
You were
and I-
thinking that that's what was going to fix you.
Right, 100%.
Right.
And I think a lot of people go through that same dilemma because I see so much conversation about it.
Like Laura's conversations.
Right, is we thought that it was a magic button that would fix everything, and I see people who have complications, and I see people who it works for, and I see so many different things in the different places I am. But at the end of the day, nothing changes until I started dealing with the real problem, which is my underlying me and my thinking.
Of course. And so that's where the recovery part steps in. And so we talk about, I have a lot of patients that I see that are post-surgical that have had a physical change for a while, right? Because for a while they're not eating the stuff that they used to eat because they can't, right? They can't get that amount of stuff or calories into their system. But when their thinking doesn't change, eventually nothing's going to change. And then they'll go ahead and regain that weight back.
And as an addict, I pick up different things. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's anything that will fill the hole in me that I think is going to make me feel normal. And recovery makes me realize that I'll never be normal, that I am who I am. And I just have to make certain choices that keep me sane in my sanity and healthy in my way, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we talk about coming from a place of gratitude, that's the very, very first little thing. That if we could just learn to do that and learn to, we don't have a connection on Facebook. If we could learn to do that and just learn to switch things around. You know, you guys are going to find too, when you're having a really tough time with something, if you could take a breath and at that moment just say, what are 3 things that I'm grateful for right this second? Even that little tiny thing helps to change your perspective.
And if you're struggling to actually say it or write it down, service is gratitude in action. So also being able to step into service. And I just want to say thank you to all those people that did step into service with us. And I mean, it's really not difficult things. People sometimes view us as, what do they want from me? What are they going to get? And the thing is, when I stepped into recovery, and I was thinking, what do these people want from me? And I'm thinking, there's not a hell of a lot that I want from me. You know, when I look at this, I was pretty broken and pretty desperate when I walked into the rooms. So really, the service stuff is just reaching out to another person that makes us feel better when we do it. I feel so happy when I'm being of service.
Right, it also depends what your beliefs are. For me, I believe that service is one of the reasons why we're in the world. You know what I mean? Like one of the really big reasons for me why we're here is to be of service to our other fellow human beings.
So I've been watching the series called Mad Men. You know, I've been hearing all about it, and for the first time yesterday, I decided, let me have a look at this. So you've got the kids running around with plastic bags over their heads, and they're in the car, and they're running around without seat belts, and this is in like the 1950s, and I was listening to a discussion on it, and the one woman was saying, when we live in an age that we're so bombarded by technology and stuff that we shouldn't do and shouldn't be and shouldn't say and all these shouldn'ts, she's going, I used to have a to-do list, now I'm having a to-don't list, which is to actually minimize all that noise so we can get back to basics, which is really being the best person we possibly can be and be healthy for ourselves and shut out the stuff that creates a chaos in our heads and our minds. And that's what I used to use.
Yeah, so we're talking about decreasing that chaos in your head, you said. And that's super important because when we're walking around, especially you guys, if we get clean and we're walking around with all that chatter in our head, then we're clean because we're not picking up. But it doesn't have a whole lot to do with recovery, right? And so recovery allows us to step back, to stay in the moment more, and not to worry about the stuff that's going to happen tomorrow, right? We plan for tomorrow and live in today. But to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow or to worry about what happened yesterday and to live there in our head takes away what we're doing at this moment.
You know, I had a lot of different clean times, like what you're saying about being clean. I did. I stayed off cigarettes for 10 years. I was off drugs for probably 12. you know, but all of those I was off food for a year, and then all of these have different like relapse sessions afterwards because
And
I
you did.
wasn't in recovery, and I did, and I relapsed on everything, and I just picked up something else, and
At
so I
different
started
times.
at
So
totally different
inconvenient.
times.
You think if
Oh,
you
and you
relapse
know,
on
I was
everything
smoking-
at one time.
I was smoking marijuana and cigarettes at the same time.
Oh, that's
so
true,
some
you
of
were,
them,
you were.
some of them overlap. But I mean, honestly, the thing is to be dry and clean doesn't make us, and be abstaining doesn't put us in recovery.
Correct. Correct. It just makes us really pissed off because now we're not using and we're not going back to what's familiar when we're discontent. So now we're just discontent with nothing to pick up. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I was just going to share a little story. A couple of nights ago, my 81-year-old mother fell hard, broke a table, broke a sculpture. She was no, she
And
was
what happened?
incredibly lucky. Point of the story is that she was incredibly upset. She was sobbing because she broke the things, and she has Ativan for when she gets in extreme anxiety, which isn't very often. She doesn't take it very often. Anyway, she's like, I need an Ativan, so I got her out her Ativan, and I gave it to her, and I thought to myself, I think I'll take one too.
Yay!
I mean, I do not crave, my obsession for drugs and alcohol has been lifted. I never have cravings, and yet just shows how things can just sneak in out of nowhere and say that to you, you know? So I immediately said, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
I do it. I'm going to just say something. So
Yeah.
as you're saying this,
Believe it.
I'm going, so what is Ativan and what does it do to you? Is that something that could work
Can I
for me?
get some of that?
Isn't that like a
Um,
crazy?
P
And
test
so I
positive?
didn't, needless to say, I did
You
not
P-test,
take the
P-test positive for it, so no, can't do that. No, and actually those thoughts do creep in because our addicted brains are addicted brains. And so those thoughts do creep in, and we learn when we've got some recovery to play that tape to the end. Again, to plan for the future, not to live there. Although if we take the Ativan in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months, we're gonna be living in that future of active addiction, active addiction, active addiction.
That's all.
But just to play that tape and to remember what it looks like on the other side. You know, to remember what it looks like rolled up on a ball in your bed and going to Tennessee for rehab.
Yeah.
That's always fun. That was awesomely fun, you guys. So that's what the tape looks like at the end. And so when you can play that through, because that's our reality, then it makes it a little bit easier not to pick up and to talk about it. So thanks for sharing that.
And I just also want to bring this back to the bariatric surgery thing, because it seems to be a big point of discussion, is that, you know, in the beginning our stomachs are really small and they're taking out those enzymes and we don't crave anything. And our addiction is just so insidious that when we start getting our taste buds back, really is what I call it, or our appetites back, we want to do exactly the same things that we were doing before. You know, and it's like any other addiction. I mean, it's not like it escalates slowly like in the beginning when we first start getting into it. It just comes back full force that we turn around and we go, how the heck did we consume all that stuff? Or why do I feel so bad? Or why am I so filled with shame and guilt and all the other beautiful gifts that come with using?
Right, and what comes into our heads also is, why do I want to use, and what would be the difference if I just did this and I just did it this once, right? And I stop tomorrow and nobody's going to know. And all of those lies, right? Every time I pick up on a lie. It's going to be different this time. It'll only be just one. No one's going to have to know. I could start again tomorrow. All of those things, all of those lies that we tell ourselves, forgetting what our tomorrow looks like if we pick up today.
Sarah's got, I can see all these thoughts going across her face.
I'm just listening and thinking about it because it just makes so much sense.
And then we want to make sure, so we touched on having the opposite or a different, the same addiction showing up differently. Laura, we talked about being anorexic instead of overeating. And that's something that most of us have gone through. And actually that's something that I want to touch on with you. So I'm going to call you out this morning. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
You doing okay? You eating?
Yes.
Okay, for sure?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just making sure, because we know that that's something that we'll tend to do, is once you're not post-surgery, you're just in recovery, And in recovery, you're losing. I even asked you the other day, like, how much weight have you lost? Because I don't even know what you looked like when you came in, nor do I know what you look like now, as far as your body image goes. I just know spiritually how you present. And spiritually, to me, you present differently this last week. And so I just want to make sure that you're okay. As far as how many pounds you lost, I'm going to tell you I don't give a shit. But spiritually, I care how you are, because I know that that's what's going to keep your heart and your head healthy, which in turn is going to keep your body healthy. You're going to be, because I know you're not picking up. But I want to make sure that spiritually that you're okay.
I appreciate that, because some people, they only ask for the weight, and it's like, the weight is one thing, but like, ask me how I'm doing inside, because the weight never really brought me anywhere. But I'm eating, I'm doing what I have to do.
Okay, good.
Because to me, if I don't do those things, then it's not really recovery. It's the same story I've done all along, same outcome. So this time, I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I don't want to go back to where I was.
Yeah, of course.
Recovery. But last few days I've been doing better. Days before that I was stressed out about, school and what I owe them and this, and it was like the thoughts were pouring in. Like I felt sort of hopeless. I felt like, wow, like now, I can really get serious with school because I'm healthier and mentally. And then I hear I owed all this money, and I just felt like, I didn't know what to
Scared.
do.
You felt scared.
Scared.
Okay.
Definitely a lot of fears. So that day, those few days were kind of depressing. And once something hits me, I get depressed fast. Like I think just, coming here, always listening to the meetings and doing, gratitude and you guys. And so that really helped me sort of change a perspective and not sit in that. So I've been able to stay more present these last few days.
Yeah, so good. So the fear of, in the promises it says fear of economic insecurity or whatever will leave us. So it's not the economic insecurity. We don't wake up in the morning in recovery and I still owe 15 grand on my Discover card. You know what I mean? Like that stuff still happens. It's that fear, meaning that we let go of the fear because it doesn't serve us. If you owe money, you owe money. If you're scared about owing money, you owe money. If you're not scared about owing the money, you owe money. So it's still, no matter what, at the end of the day, you owe the money. Whether you're scared or not, we learn doesn't serve us because the fear doesn't pay the money back. It just messes up your day, right? Yeah, and so that's the thing. When we can learn to, and are you going to wake up scared sometimes? Of course you are. You're a human being. Those are regular human emotions. It's just learning to reach out, go through it, work through it, see what's realistic that we're thinking, see if there is some certain way that we could plan for the future. If you're talking about going to school, maybe we're talking about calling a counselor or speaking to somebody that knows about grant money or somebody that knows about, getting your loan so that you don't have to pay them back for 5 years or whatever. Those things are things that you're planning for your future. When we sit in scared, Angeli, we do nothing, right? Yeah. Most people, you guys, when we're stuck in sick and scared, that's the easiest time to isolate and do absolutely nothing. And now we're scared because we're not getting anything done. We're doing nothing, and the scared is still there. And so a lot of times working through that fear is just taking a look at the future, asking for some help, which you guys, asking for help makes us strong, doesn't make us weak. We ask for help. We figure out the solution. So we have a challenge. Where's the solution? How do I step into that solution? And who can I ask? Who could I get some help? Right? Who can help me with that? And then it allows that fear to go away.
So on stepping into help, we also have the online group, What's Eating You. So anytime we're facing challenges, it's a closed group for members where we get to discuss and put out things that we're struggling with. So we're able to get support anytime, any day. But also just, you touched on a really poignant topic for me this week, because as a mother with young kids, when my kids were young, it was harder for me to isolate, and I started taking things out on my kids. So I was either short-tempered or saying things I didn't mean. And I came to realize this last week that, I realized a little while ago that I'm the barometer that my kids view the world in, especially when they're little. And my 14-year-old came to me saying that he's really anxious about finals next week and is really scared for his one test, and he's really got anxiety, and you know, he's really stressing about it. I try to have that conversation with him, like no matter what happens, as long as you do the footwork and you do everything that you can do your best to do your best, whatever happens at the end is going to happen. You know, you show up having prepared for it, but you can't determine the outcome, but at least you know you've done your best. So I'm trying to do things slightly differently with him, whereas with my oldest, I wasn't as wise as I've grown up more in the rooms than when he was the same age.
Yeah, and that is true. And, you know, we say that we see the world the way that we are, not the way that, well, we didn't say that. It's one of my favorite quotes. We see the world the way that we are, not the way that it is. And we help to teach our kids to do that too. You know, that they can change their own perspective. They can't change what's happening outside of them. They can change other people's perspectives. They can, again, do their best to do their best, and that's it. And change their own perspective and the way that they look at the world. Should we go around and
Yep.
check in?
Sure.
Okay, and you want me to do you last, because you're doing that? So
I
Dawn, you checked in. Lucy, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Busy week. Went to contract last night with my house.
Good,
One down.
good,
One to go.
good.
Big
now,
one.
now I have to find a place to live.
Okay,
So that's my next challenge.
okay.
But I'm up for it.
And you're getting stuff done.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you do see that some of the fear goes away as some stuff gets done, right? Because it's done.
It was interesting listening what you said about letting go and it's going to happen whether you're afraid or not. And one of the things I learned in this process here with my house selling, I was trying to control what I wanted to sell my house for. And when I let control go and listened to the realtor and did what she said, I got more than what I was planning on getting.
Good, good.
I love it. Do you know
God,
what?
God.
When I came into the rooms, I came in because of my thinking. Like my thinking took me to the place where I was so broken and just so full of shame and guilt that I forgot how to live. I mean, I honestly forgot how to make really good decisions for myself. And that is the one thing of being in recovery, is all of a sudden we learn to be open and open-minded and just hear other things, and maybe what other people are saying is better for us in terms of our learning.
Yeah, and that there are some people out there that know a little bit more than we do about
Yes.
a couple of things,
Yes.
just a little bit,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That we're not omnipotent, and that our way obviously isn't always the right way, or we wouldn't be sitting in this room.
I was surprised.
And you know, the most amazing thing is it doesn't make us any less. In fact, it generally makes us even more. You know, because when I first came in, I always thought it was the ego thing, that if I asked for help, you would see me as weak and I could never show that
That's my
vulnerability.
problem. That's a big problem. of
And
mine.
I'm learning that the world isn't made up of good and bad. It's sometimes just made of what is. And listening to other people and willing to learn something is sometimes so beneficial and so amazing.
And I'm going to ask you to rephrase that. So instead of you saying right now, that's a big problem of mine, I want to hear you say that's something that I'm working through.
That's something I'm working through.
Yes, you are.
And I did it with the realtor. That was a big deal for me to actually let go and do what she said.
Good.
Because when we're doing it my way, nobody showed up for the house.
Okay,
When
it wasn't
When they
working.
did it her way, it was like we had constant people, like 3-4 people a day coming to see the house.
So good lesson to learn and good lesson to be open-minded
Yeah.
with. And so it's something that you're working through. So thanks for sharing that.
All right.
Miss Karen, good morning. What's up, girl? Okay, you're unmuted.
Can you hear us?
I'm trying to be a little bit quiet. My babies are still asleep.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but nothing much is going on. I'm recovering from having overnight guests, and I'm not good with that because we like our privacy and our, things the way they are. So it just makes it different, and enjoyed having them, but also enjoyed seeing them go.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Good for
Honesty
both.
That was a good
So,
one.
Karen, I've been thinking about this a lot because unfortunately my father's not well, and he is my kid's grandfather. We unfortunately don't have great grandparents, and they don't have a lot of memories with my father. They live in New York. So the time that you're getting is so invaluable with the kids. I just think it's awesome. I wish my kids get to spend more time with him, and that's my hope for them. but it's at a stage where he really is very ill and not fun to be with. You know, it's really tough being with him. So I don't want them to remember him in this way, but at least they'd have a relationship, you know?
Right. And I enjoy spending time with them. With my granddaughter and with the baby. He's precious. He's wonderful. I love him, and I love her. And she's having some challenges with her marriage and with being a new mom. And it's just stressful for everyone. But he's well worth it. Of course.
And that is actually a way too, you know, you're helping. So it's your family and you're helping to be of service, which is really great too, I think. So good
Thank
for you.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Miss Laura, good
Thank
morning.
So I'm not sure what to say. So
Anything?
I had a great session with Felice. I've had a lot to think about recently since our last conversation, just with the group. I'm still struggling. I'm having a hard time. I'm just trying to stay off of the scale. I'm laughing because, you know, I lost 27 pounds in 5 weeks, and it's so crazy. I don't want anyone to notice because I'm not telling, and it's not a shame issue. It's just, I really don't want to bring other people into my weight loss, you know, journey, what I'm going through. But at the same time, it's so crazy to me. I've lost all this weight, and people who know me don't even notice. And I'm like, my God, how far gone was I, right? Like, that's crazy.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like I haven't lost weight. Like, and not because people haven't noticed, but because even like now I'm back at the baseline clothes I wore for a long time prior to, I gained like almost 30 pounds within a year. So I'm kind of back down. I feel like I'm back down to me.
So Laura,
Yeah.
so you and I had a conversation. I don't want to know what's happening. I want to know how you feel.
I feel scared that I'm going to that I'm going to fail at this. Like I fail at dieting all the time.
So you feel like a failure.
I feel like failure. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you feel. Are you a failure? Is that realistic?
No, I'm not a failure.
No, and I'm not a failure. End of discussion.
Okay.
No, I'm not a failure. You did what you needed to do to give yourself that little jump. You're doing everything that you're choosing to do right now to step into recovery. And I'm going to have other people talk with you about the weight loss thing. But first I want to talk to you. Remember, you guys, recovery, staying clean, staying in recovery doesn't have anything to do with what our scale tells us. Our scale is an event, is something that's happening outside of ourselves. How we don't feel good enough. That's what puts us back into active addiction. Not what the scale says. The scale's a number. If I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel like I'm strong enough, or I feel ashamed, or I feel like I don't have any self-worth except for what the scale says, the scale does not decide your self-worth. It just decides how many calories you've eaten. And you're going to find out from the people around here that have had weight loss surgery that you are going to go through periods where you're going to lose real fast, and then you'll plateau a little bit, and then you'll start losing again. So that's, I'd like some people to discuss that because I haven't had surgery. So that stuff's going to happen. That's stuff that's happening outside of you. The recovery is the change that's going to happen inside of you.
Right.
And I know it's hard to hear that because it's like, well, okay, now I'm going to get all happy and I'm going to be fat. Well, no, it's not going to be like that. Now you're going to learn to get happier, and the weight will come off as a matter of fact because you're doing the right thing.
Okay.
Okay.
I would love to say something. You know, I see a lot of posts online of people who've had surgery and going, I'm not losing weight fast enough, or I lost this, and it's all these debates. And for me, it became a way of viewing each pound or each ounce, whatever it is, as a shot of tequila. So for me, it's the same addiction. When I started focusing on the actual numbers and the actual weight itself, it takes away from the real problem, which that isn't my problem. My thinking and the decisions that I made up until the point is the stuff that made me deal with the issues and the problems that I'm dealing with at this present stage. So as long as we focus on the numbers, we're still dieting. No
we're
matter
not-
what it is,
Right.
because we're not dealing with the issue, which is really the thinking that keeps, if we don't change something, we're gonna land up in exactly the same place that we started in. So it took me a really long time to get rid of my clothes because I'm still stuck on that. So it took me months and months and months to actually start cleaning out my closet, because then I also don't even know what bra size I am today, because I'm still so warped. My thinking in terms of my own physical image is so distorted that it's really not the issue. The thing to focus on is really working on our recovery, because once we're feeling healthy and happy, we make healthy, happy decisions of things that we don't pick up to do, or do things that make us miserable.
And we're addicts. So when did we want this to happen? 6 years ago,
Yeah.
right? I had my surgery 6 weeks ago, but all this was supposed to happen 6 years ago.
And they should have
Right.
sucked out all the fat at the same time.
Right. And so that's always been our thinking, right? More is better, faster is better, harder is better. So that's always been our thinking. That's chemically like what drives our brain. And so we're gonna learn that sometimes that patience really is a virtue. And that what's important is, again, you guys, how we're feeling, not what we're looking at that's happening outside of ourselves. But how am I feeling as a human being today? How's my own spiritual barometer today?
Yeah.
Where am I? Did I wake up happy today? Or did I wake up thinking, shit, I'm gonna get on the scale and it's not gonna show anything, and I had this surgery and it cost me $840 billion, and now I'm doing all this stuff and I'm paying this one for this, and blah, 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 blah. It's like active addiction, right? Chaos, 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 chaos. Instead of being able to wake up and say, you know what? I'm gonna wake up today, I'm not gonna get on the scale, I'm gonna do my best to do my best. I'm going to accomplish this, I'm gonna go hug my kid, I'm gonna sit outside for a couple of minutes, I'm gonna go to a meeting, I'm gonna do these things, I'm gonna plan my day out and do these things that I know are gonna help me spiritually and not pay attention to what the scale is telling me.
So part of my disease is that obsessive thinking. So if I look that I'm awake 16 hours a day and I'm spending at least 10 of those hours obsessing about what I ate, how much I weighed, what clothes are fitting and what clothes aren't fitting, I lose all that time that I could have spent doing something else.
And I'm gonna tell you, affect-wise, Laura, you look scared.
Yeah. I'm just, yeah.
You're off.
I'm off.
And I'm gonna tell you, remember, again, feelings aren't facts.
Right.
They're just feelings. Feeling scared doesn't necessarily mean something bad's happening. It just means that I need to switch my perspective a little bit. Even though it doesn't feel like that right now, and I get that. But it just means, okay, there is a way to turn around my perspective for the day so that I don't have to be so scared right now. Okay? All right, so
Yeah.
make sure that you reach out to someone later, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right, and thank you for sharing that, because what you're going through right now is what every single person goes through. Every single person, at the beginning of their recovery, before we actually have recovery and we just have some clean time and our thinking is still the same thinking that got us here, we're gonna walk around and scared. It's just what we
Thanks.
do. So, until they sent me to treatment the second time after I relapsed, I was home for 2 months. So I was home clean for 2 months before they sent me to treatment. And pretty much so, I'm gonna shout out to Susan, best mom ever. Susan made me go to a meeting every day and sometimes made me go out with her and do some stuff. But otherwise, I was happy to sit in my room and be petrified
Yeah.
and not know how to get out of petrified and not know how to make that decision to get out of my room and go take a walk outside because I was stuck and sick and scared. And I'm going to tell you, you see me and you know me. Have I made a complete change? No. Am I working on it? Yeah, I am. Am I better? Yeah, much better. Spiritually, I'm much better. So that's going to come. So please give yourself that break. Yes, Ange.
Can we take a viewer question?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy says, so based on how we are feeling and the changes we have after weight loss surgery, how do we deal with body image issues and our addiction and recovery?
We come to meetings.
Yes, so I was going to say that. First of all, put yourself in a place with other people that understand what you're going through. The body image, anyone who's a binger, a purger, an overeater, an anorexic, we all have body image stuff. I advise people to come to meetings, and also if you need to, see a therapist. You know, that's why they're out there. See somebody, not just that is a therapist, but somebody that understands about addiction and what drives that behavior, because that's healthy. But step into the room here, you know, and talk about how you're feeling, because when we say, how do I deal with body image? Again, we're talking about something, but not how we feel. So how we're going to deal with body image is, how do we get rid of the shame? Today I feel ashamed. How do I get rid of that shame? Today I'm scared. How do I get rid of the scared? How do I work through the scare? The body image is part of all of that, but remember, every negative feeling is fear-based. I'm afraid of not getting what I want or losing what I have. We run a workshop, which is a very, very intense program, and it's difficult, it's doable, it's difficult, it's a lot of hard work, and we get great results at the end.
So we got a train coming past.
Oh, we have a train coming past. All right. Yeah, so thanks for asking that question, but remember, we're gonna focus on how you're feeling, not just what you're saying, you guys, because what we're saying is the stuff that we've always said. How we're feeling, when we can verbalize how we feel, we could work through those negative feelings. And please chat back if you have anything else to say. And thank you for sharing.
I just also want to say something. Nothing changes unless we make an effort. You know, and part of that is us stepping into our recovery. So the question is, what are you willing to do for your recovery? No one else is going to fix it or make you into anything that you aren't willing to do for yourself. In fact, this is an I program. What I put in and what I do is what I'm going to benefit from, really.
Yeah, so good for you, first of all, brave of you to step in a little bit if you can. Next meeting, see us on Zoom so that you could be in the room with us and with the other people that are on Zoom, because it makes you more a part of, and you're going to find out that when you reach out to the community that there are lots of people that are willing and able to help you get through what you need to get through. So thanks so much for sharing.
And also, I just want to say, sharing in what's eating you is invaluable. The people questioning us from Facebook, you're on Facebook. Join our group, because it's a great way to post questions, because you're amazed at the answers. And just sometimes even getting that crazy thinking, because I'm crazy when I start going through those cycles and those circles, taking it out of my head and just putting it out there. I feel so much better after I've done that, and it relieves that burden, and getting feedback from people, just even that thank you for sharing, makes me feel that I've been heard, and that for me is huge.
So thank you so much. Good morning, Miss Liz.
We can't hear
Good
you.
morning.
You need to speak
Wait,
up.
1 second. Yeah, we
No,
can't
it's
hear you,
fine.
hon. Can you make yourself louder?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So not much is going on with me. Just wanted to comment a couple things that have been said already. First of all, I enjoy listening to Laura sharing because not because I enjoy hearing that she's struggling, but because it reminds me of very much what I've been going through since my weight loss surgery. I'm 9 weeks post-op, and a few weeks ago I was obsessing with the scale, getting on every 2 or 3 days, and then I don't know, I just got tired of it, and one day I said, oh, this is not working for me, it's not serving me, I'm not going to do this anymore. And now I'm kind of at the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, okay, I know I have a doctor's appointment, a follow-up in a month. I'm just going to stay off and wait until I see the doctor, because I need to give myself a break from this. And it's actually been a huge relief for me to not do that to myself. And then I also wanted to comment on, I think this is only my 3rd meeting, but doing the daily gratitude list, you know, in the beginning I thought, what is this going to do?
We all think the same thing, just by the way.
That Bernice girl is crazy.
The first few times I sat there and I would sit there and I would think, and I'm like, what? I don't even know. What do I have to be grateful for? And it would take me 10, 15 minutes to come up with 3 things.
Crazy, isn't it?
You're all empathize, right?
And it's gotten a lot easier, and now I actually look forward to doing it. And I just wanted to say thank you for that, because it has kind of shifted my thinking, and I don't know if it's quite changed my perspective, but it's definitely given me a shift inside, and I'm feeling better. And you know, a few weeks ago when I first joined you guys, I was really struggling, and I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, there has to be more to this, okay? I've done the surgery, I'm following the meal plans, I'm getting in my exercise, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, but why do I feel like crap? Like, I should be feeling better by now. And I wasn't, and that's why I joined you guys. And honestly, just being here and listening to everyone share, it's really helpful. So that's all I have today.
I would love to say something. So Liz, I think you're awesome, by the way. I just think that you are so courageous to first have stepped into the room and
Pissed
not
off,
done,
by the way, because you're pissed off.
and you just dove right in and you just immersed yourself in it, and that is amazing. And you also just gave me an idea. So I think December the 31st, we're going to do something with our scales, like have scale decimation day or something, okay? And we just all like distract them and just do whatever it needs, and that's how we go into the new year, because those things are dangerous.
You know, even on our Why Wait for Recovery page, we have that little cartoon that the little girl's going to step on the scale, right? And the other little kid says, you know, don't do that, it makes you cry.
Yeah.
Right? It's so awesome. We should actually put that up again today. Because remember, when we're depending on that scale as a barometer for our happiness, we're screwed. Right? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say in regards to the scale that, in my opinion, I think the scale is so dangerous.
Speak up, baby.
I think, let's say in terms of the scale, like for me, ever since I've been in this, the scale is something that but I allow it to choose if I'm going to be happy today, or if I'm going to be upset today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very dangerous to scale, but at the same time, I think it's very addicting.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's really not good, because the scale you cannot allow the scale to depict, you know, if you're gonna be happy or if you're gonna be sad, or you know,
Yeah.
Right, so what happens with the scale is that the scale is driving our behavior,
Right.
as opposed to looking at how we're feeling.
It's a control thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it's a control thing. And the addiction, whether we're starving ourselves or eating, all of that has to do with, you know, I don't feel, I'm not taking a look at my own perspective and my own actions. I'm taking a look at what's happening outside of me. You know, I would love to challenge everybody. You know, it's so silly, like, you know, use feeling words. But I would like to challenge everybody today, everybody that's on What's Eating You. I'd like for you to go up, please. I'm asking, please. Go up and say one thing that you're feeling and tell me why. And put it out there. So, you know, Laura, you said what you said, which was you being of service to everybody, because every single person's felt that way. So then you have Liz that says, shit, like I did exactly that. I felt exactly that. And you know, this is what's going on with me now. And again, Liz, when you came into the room, when you came into this meeting last week or whenever it was, you know, when you came back the second time, you were a little pissed off and discontent, right? And that's awesome. And you came back anyway. And so that's having that feeling of indignation, or that feeling of who the F does she think she is, and what are they doing, and they don't know shit because they're not me, and they haven't gone through what I've been through, and they don't know what my life looks like. And I'm gonna tell you guys, every one of us addicts, no matter what we're picking up, are exactly the same. You know, our recovery, we can allow our recovery to help to define who we are, living with those spiritual principles and being of service and doing our best to do our best. But when we're in active addiction, our chaos and our thinking and our lack of self-worth and our fear, it makes us all the same, exactly the same. And yes, lots of people have been through what you've been through, and we all tend to talk about what happened instead of what we're feeling. Don't tell me how was your day? It's great. I went to the bank and my kids yelled at this and I don't care. How are you feeling? You know, how are you spiritually? So I'd like everybody to check in even with one word about how they are today. Okay? So I'm gonna challenge everybody to do that.
So you also brought up a really good point. The reason we come to these meetings and we step into these meetings and we get up at like 6:30 on a Sunday morning to put
I
together
know.
these meetings is because it helps us. Oh wow! It helps us identify with each other. You know, we've been through so many similar experiences in terms of feelings and how we're doing and as addicts. So when we sit together and we talk, we learn by identifying with each other when we speak from a heart-to-heart space. And that's why I really encourage everyone to start stepping into our room. You know, watching it from a distance doesn't help us recover. It helps us be part of a soap drama in essence.
Great.
But by stepping in is the first step that we're making towards our own recovery and being part of a community, because it really takes a community for us to heal ourselves.
Yeah, of course it does. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. It's really the truth. You know, it's the truth. And so the more peeps that we have and the more we're stepping into a community with people that we have stuff in common with and we're working for that common good, the healthier that we are. Ange, I know that you're busy there, but I want to talk with you. So I'm going to ask you how you're feeling. I know that, you know, you talk about having a certain amount of recovery time, which you do, right? You have over a year in recovery, right? But you still fall back,
Yeah.
right, emotionally. So can we talk about that a little bit? Because I know that you had a tough time last week or a couple
Yeah.
days ago or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to talk about
Yes,
what
I
happened?
do.
Okay. Yeah, so a couple days ago I was struggling a lot. And I don't exactly know why. But in terms of, like, you mean in terms of me being in recovery and still struggling?
And you were walking around in fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so of those things, you know, just because we get clean and we have some recovery in our bellies, doesn't mean that we're going to wake up every day fine, and doesn't mean that we're going to wake up without fear, and doesn't mean that sometimes, you know, sometimes you let that fear sit with you because we are human beings.
Yeah, so I definitely sat in that fear for the first half of the day,
Okay.
I think, and then I don't know that anything happened, that it just stopped. I guess I decided that I was done being scared for the day. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the whole recovery thing, I don't think that makes me any less prone to have those experiences. I think we just learn to deal with them a little bit better. And I also wanted to say something about the scale thing,
Thanks.
going away from that topic a little, but like, even this week, I think I said to you, I think I said something to you about eating, and I have my last, like, I'm down to my last 20 pounds or whatever, and it's hard, because naturally it's just hard when you get closer to goal. And so I started to be a little crazy, like, well, maybe if I only eat X and Y and leave out this group of whatever, then that'll kickstart my weight loss, which never really stopped. But it's just, I really want, we're impatient, and we want it fast. And so long story short, when you guys were talking, everyone was talking about the scale, I was just thinking from the point of view as a person in active addiction with the scale, not picking out anyone in particular, just saying generally. It's great, and it's all pretty to hear, well, you know, don't worry about the scale, and do this and do that and whatever. And it's like, for the longest time, I had my doctors and whoever tell me, get rid of the scale, get rid of the scale. I'm like, no, I'm not getting rid of the scale. And they're like, well, just put it in your trunk. I'm like, no, I'm going to go get it when I want to weigh on it. And then they're like, okay, well, you're going to decide what you decide. So I didn't get rid of it. It died one day. And that's the best thing that ever happened, because I was too lazy to put batteries in it. So now, I probably, since my surgery, have weighed 4 or 5 times, which I used to weigh 2 or 3 times a day, because I was crazy. And I would cry if I, obviously we all know as compulsive dieters, if we drink a lot of water, we can alter our body weight, or withhold water, we can alter our body weight. And I would know if I drank a gallon of water, the scale would be 10 pounds up, and I'd cry knowing I did that. But it's like, it was almost like a self-fulfilling thing that I had something to be crazy about. So long story short, I think it's great that we can say, well, you know, don't get on the scale and give whatever reason, but until you realize that it really is not that important, it's not going to make that difference in how you view it. And so, and I did want to talk to Laura. I think, oh, Laura's still there. Laura, I will talk to you later. But I think it's important to see that it really is not about the scale. And I know it doesn't mean that much until you feel it and see it for yourself. But when you make that progress in your recovery, you see that it's the other things that important, like how you are feeling and how your day is going, and not what the number on the scale says.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, for me, again, I've never once, nor will I ever, talk to anybody about how they look physically, because I don't give a shit.
So you've known me since before I had this, the surgery done, and you've never said to me one day in my life that you look good, or you look skinny, or you whatever. Never.
I have said you look happy,
You've said
or
yes.
you look scared.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that are important. If she's looking happy, if her affect is better, if she's inside of her own head, that's the stuff that's important, you guys. Not how well, you know, the t-shirt does or doesn't fit today. And you do get to that point, right? And I talk about this all the time, but I have to talk about this. So I walk into your house and you had lost 1 billion pounds, and you were crying. And I was like, Haiti, so you look great. And so I had this thing, because it took me forever. I knew Haiti for quite a while before she even was open-minded to the recovery thing, right?
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And I mean, like, we were besties. And
I was
said,
talking recovery. I mean,
all the time
all the
we were
time.
talking recovery.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you look great, don't you? You know, how are you feeling? You know, and you were scared, and you were stuck and sick and scared, and nothing had changed except that she went down, you know, however many dress sizes, which I couldn't tell you anyway. And it didn't make a bit of difference, because she was still miserable. And so whether or not she was gonna gain weight back, eventually, if we stay miserable, yeah, we're gonna gain the weight back, or yes, we're gonna starve ourselves again. It does make a difference once we're in recovery, and that's what's important, because when we stop paying attention again to what's going on outside of us and start paying attention to what's going on inside of us, and how do I get rid of the fear and the guilt and the shame and the feelings of less than that drive my thinking, that drive my addiction. Until I get rid of those things, or learn to work them, not get rid of them, but get better at it, and get feeling happy and get feeling better about myself as a human being, not because of what size belt I have to buy today. That once we have that spiritual recovery, without that spiritual recovery, you guys, we're never gonna stay at any weight that we want to, because we're gonna make it about the weight and not about how we're feeling.
So, we've also, newcomers are really important in our room. It helps us, it helps us remember where we started, and it also, I love seeing new faces. I learn so much from them. Welcome. We have a newcomer up. Do you want to just say hi?
Hi.
Kimberly?
Hi, Kimberly.
You have to
Yeah,
unmute
you're on
yourself.
mute.
I couldn't figure out how to turn on the
Perfect.
volume.
You're good.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you. How are you?
Doing okay.
Okay. All right.
Welcome.
Yeah, if you have anything that you want to share, have any questions?
Not right now at this moment, no,
Perfect.
thank you. But I've been
Perfect.
learning an awful lot and watching the videos for probably 2 months now.
Good.
And if I'm not actively live streaming, I'll catch it sometime during the week, which is really nice.
Good.
Great.
Good.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, and thanks for thank yourself for taking that first step and actually stepping into the room, because it's different. It is, and it's different when we can see you and see how you are, right? They say that only 20% of what I'm saying is actually coming out of my mouth. I wonder what the percent is when I'm typing. It has to do with what I'm saying, right? So thanks for joining us.
And thanks for mentioning that we do keep an archive of our past meetings on YouTube. It's Why Wait for Recovery, all in one word. You can find all our meetings up there. Please just pop in and have a look. And also, you know, we speak of gratitude, so I just want to express gratitude. We are in an amazing war room in Fact Village in Fort Lauderdale. And we just want to say thank you to Trauma Agency and General Provision who have gifted us this space. They really don't want any addict anywhere dying of this horrific disease. And that was their gift to us. And also to be of gratitude, I also want to say thank you to anyone who served or is serving, because freedom is not free, and really this Memorial Day is a tremendous day for us, especially for those of us that come from countries that are not as having, you know, as generous with, as having the things and the rights and the things that we do here, because we do live in a spectacular space with amazing people. So I'm just really grateful. And the other thing is service. Thank you to all of you. Ange, thank you. Thank you for the people, Sarah, Dawn. Thank you for stepping into service. The people online who have signed up, Liz, Karen, all you guys who have signed up to help get the message out. Just thank you so much to doctors who are helping get our message out as well and sending people to us. Thank you, and we are going to start doing a gratitude page as well, just to thank people who help get our message, because the more people who hear about this, the less people will be living in pain, struggling with shame and guilt, and just really stepping into recovery. Recovery is awesome.
Recovery is awesome, you guys. It's hard, and it's really, really, really worth it, right? And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So it's difficult. Especially at the beginning, it's difficult at best. And as we get more into our recovery and our lives change, it's amazing that we could grow up to be the people that we wanted to grow up to be, or more like the people that we saw ourselves as being, instead of just those scared people that are hiding in their rooms and lying to themselves and lying to everybody else. So congratulations to everybody that does participate in your own health and in your own happiness. So good job, everybody.
So we meet up again. We meet twice a week. We meet on a Sunday from 9 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, and we're meeting again on Thursday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. If you are in South Florida, come join us.
Come
sit
over.
at the table with us and come chat with us. If you are anywhere else, hop into our virtual room. We are only posted on What's Eating You, because it's for members only. And come join us. Let's see your face. These beautiful faces, and we're going to start closing out.
So I'm going to read the promises from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, because these promises come true. So thank you, AA, and to all the A's out there, which we are not a part of, by the way. So
No,
I think we're
just
supposed to
two
say that.
friends.
We're just two people talking about recovery with a bunch of other people that want to get well. We're not affiliated with any of the A groups, but I am going to read this from their book, so thank you, AA. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that the universe does for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We don't think so. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly. They always materialize, though, if we work for them. So blessed and grateful for every one of you. Thank you for being a part of my recovery and helping me through my recovery. I'm blessed and grateful myself to be in recovery, and for our Why Wait for Recovery community, I'm Felice.
And I just wanted to say, if you're struggling today, no matter what, don't pick up just for today. And also, if no one's told you that they love you, I love you. Have a beautiful week. I'm Haiti, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. And see you Thursday.
Peace out, you
everybody.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for sharing, everybody. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here.
Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.